Hey guys, I just got in from outside, and I mean to tell you guys, it is nice. We just got our first cold front in. Not cold front, but our first really decent cool weather. It's so nice out there. It's one of those days that when the morning is cool, the sun comes up, and if you have an old wooden house, this is where it's really neat, or one with a new porch on it, which ours is quasi-new, that when the sun hits it on that particular kind of day, the air is clean and free of a lot of things, so the sun will heat that wood up, and you can smell all the lumber and all the side. You smell that. It's a nice smell, So I sat out on the porch this morning and I drank some coffee, and after I saw my other half off, and just a great day. The sky is a deep blue, and the wind is blowing out of the north 10 to 15 miles an hour. You can hear for miles every dog in the neighborhood. Excuse me. You can hear them out there, and everything seems relaxed and happy. It's just a really awesome thing, that those first few northers that you get in early fall, which is what we're getting now, all the way up to mid-fall, sometimes up into early winter, depending on how warm it is. But it's just the nicest thing to just sit out there and enjoy that. So I've been taking the dogs out a little more than usual today and just letting them run around and, keep themselves occupied, which makes them less restless. What a great day. It's not a good day for flying quads. I'll have to wait until the wind dies back for that, but it's awesome. It's pretty awesome. So I may grab my iPhone. I had an iPhone, but not anymore. I may grab my my little Samsung and go out there, and maybe I'll do a little videography there. I've been looking over the property to see what needs doing. We've got a lot of cutting that has to be done, so first thing I'm going to do this weekend, I'm going to run up and I'm going to get tires and a battery for my big riding mower. And we're just going to cut the heck out of everything. That's going to be this month's task. I don't know if I told you all this, but I lost my FPV rig. It was on that little Syma X8C, and I had a bit of a wind catch it, and it got away from me. So I can verify that the wind bug does work. It does exist. You've got to watch out, because what it'll do, the X8C and the SC1, the quote-unquote upgraded version, when it goes up into even a slight wind, it'll slow down and start going up. And if it's a good wind, it'll instead of holding place, it'll start getting pushed back, and that's what happened to me. I was probably about 15-20 feet from that big tall pine tree, and the wind was just dead calm. I was flying in dead calm because I was still learning how to fly by camera. And that's why I don't have video to show y'all, is because the last thing I saw on that was pine needles looking straight up into the sky. Yeah, we had a 10-mile-an-hour gust or more. It caught it and it pushed it. I had no ability to correct out of it. It just carried it on and into that tree. It's about 150 feet up in the air in that pine tree. So, needless to say, it sat there till its battery died. And it's been there for a while now. It's been through a couple of rains. I doubt it even works anymore. So, I've got this monitor and this little flat panel antenna. So I ordered another one today. And that one's on its way. I'm going to put it on a more powerful quad. That's why I got that X8C. And I'm learning to fly that. It's a much more robust flight platform than the little X8C. About the same as the X5C-1. Has about the same handling characteristics. The only thing about it I don't really like is that bigger one. It's like flying a garbage truck around. It's 1 1/3 pounds. So once you get it moving, you don't just let it coast, auto level and coast. Once you get it moving, you've got to correct back the other way to get it to stop, or it'll just keep on sliding. It's like flying a big bar of soap. And also, control of your altitude. You have to have much tighter control on that throttle to keep it from going into vortex ring state. Because once you get all that weight moving up, it's going to keep going until you let way off the stick, and then it'll start back down. And if you don't get right back on the stick, she's a-coming down, baby. And it's hard to stop it once it's on its downward slide. It's a lot of inertia. But getting the hang of it. I flew it in a gym not too long ago, got the hang of it, and got it all trimmed out. I couldn't trim it because we always had some kind of a breeze blowing, but I took it up at the school where Honey Bunny works. I took it up in the gym, and I flew it there where there was no wind, and I was able to I can control it pretty well now. It actually held altitude during that flight without the loss of motor control. Awesome. It's very stable. The other thing I did, and this really, I don't know if you can see it or not. These are the extra props. But I did the same to these as I did with the others. Is I balanced them. If you buy an X8C and you fly it out of the box, it's going to be, depending on how well they form the props in the mold, it's going to be horrible to control, or it's going to be pretty easy. Once I balanced these props, the gyros and everything started working right, and the camera got a lot less jellied, a lot less jello in the image. props were so unbalanced that the whole thing was just, and it was vibrating at such a rate that it was causing the gyros to go out of calibration. There are accelerometers in the vehicle, but because it's vibrating so bad, they can't hold to zero wherever they're set. So they're flying in some kind of a weird approximation that drifts. Once I got those props balanced and took it up, even outside where the breezes were blowing before I had it trimmed, it flew like night and day. Where I couldn't keep it stable to save my life, or even in the air, it would actually not hold altitude well at all. But when I balanced those props, that thing flew like a brick wall, man. It was just, I could move it and it would just move, None of this up and down crap that you have to sit there compensating with your thumb on a controller. It did what it was supposed to do. And the last camera footage I got from it, I'll probably bring it. I got some junk footage from the gym because I record everything when I fly. It's the stock camera. After balancing, there's no jello. There's zero jello in the footage at all. Well, a little bit maybe, but if it's there, I couldn't notice it easily. So it's got about as much jello as an X8C now that it's been balanced. And apparently with these things, that's the whole key, is getting those props balanced. And it was vibrating so bad when I got it from the dealer that actually you can hear it on the microphone of the thing as it's flying. You hear this whoa, 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 because the propellers are resonating, but they're not only resonating, they're vibrating at almost the same frequency. They're vibrating the whole aircraft. So I balanced out the props as best I could. I don't have a balancing rig, but I improvised with a screwdriver and a couple of other things to make a stand out of. And I got them pretty well balanced. They're not super. I've got them balanced so they sit like this, and when you roll them, they sit like this. But I haven't fully balanced the hubs, so when you stand them up, they kind of go this way a little bit, or they'll go that way a little bit, depending on which way you have them pointed. But they are balanced to such a point now that when that thing flies, it just stays there. And the other thing I found is now that they're balanced, I don't need as much throttle to keep that thing in the air. I'm guessing the vibration caused the accelerometers to kind of back off, off of the power. I don't know. I know it has accelerometers in it, but I don't know if they affect your throttle output. But I did notice that since I fixed that problem, I have no trouble keeping it in the air all the way to the low voltage flashing lights. Before I balanced the props, it would lose power. It would be underpowered, which is really weird. Long before the LVC lights came on, before the lights started flashing saying the battery was bad, you couldn't keep it in the air. After the battery was maybe half to 2/3 down, it would go up a little ways and then it would start drifting down. And not vortex ring state, it would just start coming down and you'd be sitting there pushing further and further on the throttle. But it would just slowly come back down and hover just above the ground, and you'd have to land it. Now, if you launched it after you landed, it'd go, if you popped it up, it'd just go right on up, So something with the gyros, or something with the way it holds altitude, it was vibrating so bad it could not stay calibrated. So, and I didn't, I know that the gyros are solid state, but I think what was happening is, the gyros were being vibrated between two different states, and they were having to find an approximation. Like, here's the craft vibrating, and so the gyros were getting all out of whack. Like, this is where the gyro would be pointing. So the aircraft is vibrating, the gyro might move over here, or move over here, or move, It could never hold it solidly. So I didn't think that balancing your props was like a super duper crazy important thing. I knew it was good to get the jello out of your camera, but apparently balancing your props does a whole lot of good for a whole lot of other aspects of how your machine flies. So from now on, when I buy them, I'm going to always balance my props before I send them up. And I'm beginning to wonder now if my little X5SC, if I had balanced the props on that, if it would have flown much better. Of course, the wind bug was definitely there. It was always a good flyer. But didn't think that the wind bug was in the machine until that business with the FPV camera. You know, losing my camera up in the tree. I literally had no control of that. When the wind caught that, I pitched into the wind and it went a little ways, and then it did that up and balance thing, and then the wind just whoop, right into the tree. Right into the tree. And when you're being pushed like that and you're being thrown that way, you can't come off the stick or you're going to go even faster. You got to hold it pitched into the wind. A trick I found I could do that got over that problem when the wind wasn't so bad, I could let off the stick and then pitch again, and it would go a little further, you know. But apparently, yeah, it does have the wind bug. So that's verified. That's the X5SC and the X5SC-1. They have the wind bug. Not good to fly in any wind, especially if you're carrying a fairly expensive payload. That really sucked to lose that camera, but not much I can do about it. But what it does mean is when the new camera comes, I'll have a ride-along monitor for somebody who wants to sit beside me while I'm flying it and just watch it fly, you know. So, yeah. Other things that are interesting. Psycho remains jailed, apparently. But some weird things are going on at night out here. Y'all saw my last video. Dogs have been flipping out. And it's usually about the same time every day and then a couple of times at night. But mostly during the day. They flip out like somebody's knocking on the door. And you go to the door, there's nobody there. So you go out and you look around. You can't see any signs that anybody's been anywhere. But the dog, but when you go back in, they'll flip out again. So I've been having to walk around on the property and just watch. The only thing I can think of, there's some member of his family that has taken up his cause. Maybe. Who knows? So, just keep our cameras rolling and keep an eye. I'm having to do a few things. I'll probably be buying a decent security camera for this side over here so I can replace those cheapy webcams and have something that records meaningful evidence. Preferably with night vision, because that's generally when they act up. The last two times been during the day. But also we've had damn near a full moon, if not. We've had a really, really bright moon over the last 2 or 3 days. And everything in the neighborhood's making noise or getting spooked. So I may attest it to that as well, that the dogs are being spooked by things moving around in the moonlight. Because it brings all the animals out, especially when you get cool weather like we got today and last night. So, it's just things. Old habits die hard. When you got a crazy person around, you get into the habit of maintaining security and keeping your guard up. And so that's kind of what happens, you know. It's kind of what happens. Getting over it slowly. I'm starting to enjoy going out into the yard again. It almost instilled a weird form of, what is the word I'm thinking of? Agoraphobia, where you don't want to go out because there's a danger out there. There was a real present danger out there, but now it's gone. But you don't just switch that off like a switch. That's in your head after that period, and I found that out, and I'm finding that out. Little things, you hear little things that you could swear are a person moving out there, but they're not, you know. So it does play with your head. It does play with your head, having a weirdo stalking you, especially after he's gone. And you start to realize, you know, oh man, he kind of he kind of screwed with my head. So, you know, getting over that. And before all this, I never had those kind of issues. But man, you get paranoid after you deal with something like that. But that's getting off into the bad parts of things. And we won't go that far today. So, cool weather. Nice warm coffee. I have a coffee review coming up. That'll be my very next video. I found a really neat coffee, and me and my friend Darren, we were up at Walmart, and they have these new variants of Folgers. I've never liked Folgers. I've never liked regular Folgers. It's just nasty, in my opinion. Tastes like you're drinking, I don't know what. But Folgers has come out with some specialty coffees. The first one I ever reviewed was Black Silk, which y'all saw that review. I think it's way back there. It's a really awesome coffee. I was very surprised that I could get something like that off of a shelf, in a supermarket. And recently they have come out with two other coffees. They got one that has chocolate in it. It has a chocolate infusion in it, into the roast. And they have another one, and this is what got my interest, because me and my friend Craig, way back when I lived in Houston, we used to sit around and we would drink. Y'all, excuse me, my belly is growling. It's just kind of weird because I just ate, but doesn't seem like I did. We would sit around in the morning. Sometimes he would come over before work, or whenever it was on the weekends, he'd hang around and we'd shoot the breeze. And one of the things that he used to make was a coffee where he would take a stick of cinnamon and he'd grind up some into that and put it in the coffee. And it was usually percolated coffee. So the cinnamon would infuse into the coffee, and it was really, really good. Especially with a little, with a few other additives in there, a little cream or maybe a little sugar. Well, Folgers has come out with a cinnamon-infused coffee. And oh, God, I'm going to do the review on that, man. That's a really awesome coffee. Was very surprised. So that'll be the next video. I won't spoil that. But anyway, you guys do need to go out and try it if you like those kind of things. I generally prefer black coffee, but I'm starting to like all these different kind of modified coffees. But still, when you're dog tired and it's 5 a.m. and it's cold outside and you're on a porch or on a stairway or you're standing at a post, a nice hot cup of just black Colombian coffee or maybe a black Italian coffee, really good. So yeah, I will always like plain coffee, and it's probably my go-to, Man, the dogs are barking like crazy out there today. They're just loving that cool weather. If I had both my leashes, I'd take both my dogs for a walk. One we are fostering, and we're hoping to adopt it out. It's a little hound pup. It's actually almost a full-grown dog now. It's got a little while yet, but it's getting lanky in the legs and thin in the body. It's got that old conical needle neck that you can't keep a collar on to save your life. So, first time messing with hounds. I don't think I'll ever foster a hound of any kind ever again. Hard to train and very, very slow on the uptake. They're not very intelligent, in my opinion. And I've raised a lot of dogs. I've had a lot of dogs. We've had Dobermans, and we've had Springer Spaniels, and we had an Australian Shepherd, and we've had Golden Retrievers, and now we've got Molly in there, who is a mix of Rottweiler, Shepherd. She's a whole Rottweiler on her mother's side, but on the father's side, the father was mixed between a Shepherd and a Boxer. So I guess she inherited the intelligence, because that dog in there is darn near human. You can tell that dog in a plain, straight voice what you want it to do, and it will figure it out. And you don't really... She trains fast. We taught her to sit in 2 commands. Housebroke her very easily. Never really had a problem, Awesome dog. But that one there, we've been trying, and we get her to the point where she wants to go outside, and we let her out, and we're thinking, okay, she's learned it, and she'll keep on doing that, and when to take her out. And then it's like maybe 3 or 4 days go by, and it's like somebody pushed the reset button. And you have to housebreak that dog all over again. It's the peeing thing. The pooping thing, she goes out. She's learned to go out for that, and never really had an issue with that. But the peeing thing is driving us nuts. There isn't enough bleach in the world to clean all that up. Anyway, we're keeping a clean house, but we're going through consumables pretty fast. So obviously this dog, whoever gets it, it's going to be an outside dog, and it doesn't mind being an outside dog. It's so addled in the head, it doesn't care if it's outside or inside, so that's probably where it's going to wind up. We just didn't put it outside here because we had Weirdo across the street. And the same reason Molly hadn't been outside. Afraid we're going to come home one day and find him poisoned or dead, because he's the sneaky type that'd throw something over the fence. Daggum, my nose itches. I'm guessing that would be the junk that blew in with the front. They say you should never open your windows the first day of a front when it comes in, because all the pollen and the other junk that's on the breeze, it passes over you on that first day. The second day is when you want to open your windows after all that stuff has blown past. And I'm beginning to believe that. Whew. In fact, I'm actually starting to get some drainage. I've been that way for a while. I think I will partake of a Halls. This is not paid product placement. I don't do that kind of stuff, but pretty much the run-of-the-mill stuff. Good stuff. Keep you going. So anyway, that's the other thing we're fixing. Minecraft server is doing well. I would like to call attention to my friend Styx. He has a Minecraft server that is up, and you may be able to get in touch with him. I'll need to put his web address down here on the bottom. And he has a server there. He's running 1.8, and he's got a couple of multi-world maps. But he has, and this is the one I'll be running on mine as an off to the side world as well. He has about 80% of the last foxescraft.com map that existed. So if y'all know, the ones of y'all who know, you know what server that was. If you had builds in there, it's in adventure mode, but if you had something built in there that you want copied out and sent to you as a schematic file to put in your own Minecraft worlds, you can go on his server and just go out to where you think it might have been on the map. All of the map is not there because it was done with World Downloader. We didn't get the original map from the server. I wish we had. Such a loss. But everywhere that I ever flew, and I was doing an extensive mapping campaign when I wasn't being distracted off of what I was doing, I got everything but maybe about 33% of the map. So, yeah, 33, maybe 20 to 33% I wasn't able to get, and it's flat land out there where that's not. But there's a good chance that the things you built are on that map. So I'll put the link down in the bottom. I'll probably do it a couple of times. Just pop in there. I don't know if he's whitelisted or not. He may be whitelisted. If he is, just PM me and give me your username, and I'll make sure he gets your username, and we can go ahead and put you back on if you were on Fox's Craft. So, there we go. He also has, for those of you who are really ticked off about Puegable going down and just losing all that beautiful work, I don't have all of that because there's no way you could travel that whole map in the time, but I have the bulk of the old Puegable server map, and we've got that on there too. So if you want to go over there, you had a build on there that you want to see again, or that you want to pull down, that's also an archive, and it's in adventure mode. You can't build in there. You can explore all day long, and you can interact, but you can't build. And if you see something that was yours, you can request it. We'll pull it down and get it to you as a schematic. But that's a historical archive. That when they went over to Atheon, everything, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinion, just went to crap. That it was just, okay, we're switching. And all that work, all that beautiful art and that beautiful building stuff that they did, just gone. Poof. And I know at least 15 people that said they would never go on there again because of that. That they were building stuff and now it's all a thing of the past. I've got some builds on there. And I was kind of upset, but you know, these things happen. But what a waste. What a waste of good work. I never told anybody when I was on there that I had World Downloader going because I was archiving the map. Because one of the things when you're on satellite, certain times of the day you can't get on. You know, you got data caps and all these other things. I wanted an offline version of that so I could go in single player and just, you know, look around. Maybe I want to look closer at things I've flown past. And it was a great way to explore and then go back and explore again. Now that I'm on DSL, it's not a big deal. But back then, you know, it was a big deal. You know, you had 5 hours or less, depending, because they were usually doing maintenance during the free zone. So, you know, you grabbed what you could, so you could go back later in the day when you were functional again. You could go in there and look around. So, the byproduct of that is I have the only existing copy of the map that I know of. It's not complete, but it's got the sites, it's got the major sites, and it's got a bunch of little minor stuff, you know. I'm so glad I did that because to see Paradigm City, there was a builder in there named Circlite, whom apparently they kicked off the server. I don't know if they did or didn't, but I think he or she was kicked off, and they did a huge build called Paradigm City. And if you're a fan of anime or Adult Swim or whatever, Toonami I think it was a cartoon they showed. And it's about giant fighting robots. It's called Big O. Yeah, I know. Don't laugh. But anyway, Paradigm City was the city that all these people were in. And they did a really cool representation of it, so I'm glad I have that. Of course, they have their own download of it, but hey, you get mine, you get a lot of that world with it, so... That's about that. Getting off of Minecraft. That's pretty much what's happened today, and I'm probably going to go back out in a little bit and just float around outside. I got some yard work to do. I got to get caught up on a lot of stuff. I got to get a hold of a man to do some tree removal, and we're going to try to get a couple of these big pine trees out of here that are near the house, because don't like having those within falling distance of my place. I don't mind oaks as long as they're not over the top, you know. But pine trees can do this. And if your house is right here, they can do this, you know. Big pine trees. So those got to go. And that's it. That's all of it for today. So I hope everybody has a good day. And, you know, let me know how things are going down in the comments below. And, hey, man, we might even get a conversation sparked up. Who knows? Y'all have a good one. And take care.